Right now, you are breathing. You probably didn't notice it until just this second, and the moment you stop thinking about it, your body will take over and do it for you again. That's how automatic it is. That's how invisible it is. But here's the problem. The fact that breathing is invisible doesn't mean you're doing it right. And according to a growing body of research, the overwhelming majority of people in the industrialized world are doing it wrong. Not sometimes, all the time, every breath, every hour, every year of their lives. What if the most basic thing your body does is also one of the most damaged? Your lungs have been in your chest since the day you were born. You've never had to think about them, but thinking about them, really understanding what's happening inside them, might change the way you feel, the way you sleep, the way your face looks, and how long you live. Start with a number. The average adult breathes between 15 and 20 times per minute. That sounds normal. It sounds healthy. But researchers studying respiratory physiology have found that the optimal rate for the adult human body is somewhere between 5.5 and 6 breaths per minute. Not 15, not 20, 6. You are breathing roughly 3 times faster than your body was designed for. James Nestor, a science journalist who spent years investigating the history and science of breathing, documented this in detail. His research, which involved his own physiological experiments alongside decades of clinical data, found that fast, shallow breathing is now so common that most people have lost the ability to feel the difference between a good breath and a bad one. They've never felt what full, slow, nasal breathing actually does to their nervous system. They've forgotten what it's supposed to feel like. And it starts in the nose. Right now, check how you're breathing. Is air moving through your nose or your mouth? If the answer is your mouth, you're not alone. But you are doing something your body was never designed to do. The nose is not simply a hole in your face for air to pass through. It is a sophisticated biological machine. It filters, it humidifies, it heats, it pressurizes. It produces nitric oxide, a molecule that dilates blood vessels and improves oxygen absorption in the lungs by around 18%. Your mouth does none of these things. Your mouth is a food hole. It became an air hole by accident. The story of how that happened is stranger than you'd expect. For most of human prehistory, your ancestors breathed through their noses exclusively. Fossilized skulls from ancient populations show wide, upward-angled nasal passages, broad palates, and jaws that swept back to create long, unobstructed airways. These skulls don't show the crowded teeth, the small jaws, the flattened faces that dominate modern human skulls. The change came slowly, then very fast. Anthropologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard has spent years studying the skull architecture of ancient versus modern humans. What he found is that when humans shifted to processed, softer foods, the jaw stopped receiving the mechanical stress that signals bone to grow. The jaw got smaller, the palate narrowed, the airway compressed. Teeth became crowded because the platform they were sitting on had literally shrunk. And the airway, that long open corridor your ancestors used to breathe through at night, got smaller too. A smaller airway means more resistance means more effort means a slight, unconscious tilt of the mouth to grab air a different way. And once that habit begins, it is very hard to break. Mouth breathing changes your face, it changes your airway. Over time in children, it reshapes the growth of the skull itself. Orthodontist and researcher John Mew has documented this for decades. When a child breathes through the mouth rather than the nose, the tongue drops from the roof of the mouth where it's supposed to rest and sit. That tongue pressure is what signals the palate to expand outward as the child grows. Without it, the palate narrows, the face elongates, the teeth crowd, and the airway narrows further. It becomes self-reinforcing. Each generation inherits slightly less optimal architecture than the last. That's happening right now. In your mouth. In your children's mouths. But this goes deeper than faces and jaws. Every time you breathe fast and shallow, you're triggering a response in your nervous system. Not a dramatic response. Not a panic attack. Something quieter, something chronic. The autonomic nervous system has 2 primary modes. Sympathetic activation, which prepares your body for action, and parasympathetic activation, which handles rest, digestion, and recovery. Slow, deep, Nasal breathing engages the parasympathetic branch. Fast, shallow, mouth breathing engages the sympathetic branch. You are running a low-grade stress response every hour of every day simply by breathing the way you were taught was normal.